Take us away.
Alright, so which is the most pressing issue facing?
We gotta fill these out.
Somebody want to start? Which is the most pressing issue facing San Francisco?
The most. Okay, so I would say the most pressing concern is like the fact that majority of the African Americans are being like targeted. I would say I'm going to use targeted because I feel like they're being targeted, and basically since they can't afford their freedom, they have no choice but to sit in jail or maybe take a plea to a crime that they did not commit. And my evidence to support my argument is that 26% of San Francisco's residents are African American, yet 56% of jail inmates are black. By contrast, around 42% of the city's residents are white, but the group only accounts for 22% of jail residents, which means that the outside population within San Francisco is majority of white citizens, while majority of the citizens that would populate the city, which are African Americans, are being incarcerated. And that's mostly because of the war on drugs, or for on-view arrest, since we're using race-based neutral explanations. So they're supposed to, from a piece of policy that I read yesterday, because I was actually at a meeting with the DA, they're supposed to actually sit down and take witness statements for an on-view arrest for it not to be a racial discrimination case, but they don't honor that system, which is why they got checked yesterday by myself. But because of that, that is the reason why this number continues to increase. And once I find that piece of paper, I will get back to you with further evidence.
I have a question. You said something earlier about race-based thing?
Race-based neutral explanation?
What does that mean?
Basically, so if I was an officer and I was to arrest you, but my intention is probably to arrest you because I assume that you're Mexican, you have drugs. So I'm going to arrest you because I think you have drugs, but the explanation that I'm going to provide to make it seem like it's not racist is a really silly, nonchalant explanation, like I didn't like the way that his hair looked, so I had to approach him. Or his demeanor did not look fitting to the crowd around him. He looked really predatorial, looked like he was, had criminal intent. I can use terminology like that to specify my reasonings for stopping you and searching you and violating your rights without making it seem like I'm being racist, when clearly that is my intention.
All right.
Oh, and I have that piece of policy for you too, but I'll wait till someone else speaks up and then I'll run back on that.
I agree with you, Arbon. In my personal opinion, I really like the most pressing issues, like probably where it all starts to originate is within the criminal justice, the policing on the streets. I believe that's like the root to where it all starts. That's where usually discrimination begins, because the police officers targeting people of color throughout the streets for just the color of their skin. And it's mostly because the police are corrupted or just have a certain mindset towards a certain race. And a little piece of evidence I want to share is, according to a news report from SF African Americans make up about 7.8% of San Francisco population, and about 50.3% of those people have been arrested. That's quite a large, like half the people of the African American population of San Francisco is locked up for that type of thing. And I believe it all started just with policing on the streets. I believe that's the source of where everything starts to get corrupted within the criminal justice.
You want to go ahead,
Oh, sure. Hold on, let me actually find it. Oh, I found it because I highlighted it. It's right here. Is the DAI policy number. I think this is. I don't know how to read numeral numbers. You don't want to read that? No. Okay. I don't know how to read numeral numbers. But here it is in the third clause of the procedure, given the policy that investigators should be aware that arrest constitutes one of the most dangerous aspects of law enforcement. For this reason, investigators must make all reasonable attempts to ensure that arrests are carried out using the safest methods, techniques, and procedures available. Arrests made by personnel of Bureau of Criminal investigation will be in accordance with the laws of the state of California. The clause that I want to specifically jump to is when arrests are made pursuant to probable cause, sometimes referred to as non-warrant arrests or on-view arrests, the investigators should make every practical, effort to gather evidence, locate witnesses, and take statements in support of the arrest. Now, we know personally from all the documents that or the documentaries that we've watched, that these rights are not always honored by people just blindly giving up their consent because they don't know, or like when arrests like this are being made, that you don't see officers trying to take down witness statements to prove that this is not a racial bust. Like they just go in for the kill and avoid all other protocol when they're supposed to, but they clearly don't.
You said non-view arrest. What is that?
On-view arrest.
Oh, on-view. What do you mean by that?
So it's basically an arrest without a warrant. So if like I told David, like if I want to approach you because you look weird or you look like you have criminal intent, like I can, and that's on view because I don't have a warrant for your arrest. So I'm not mandated by the courts to stop you. Like I don't have that official right. But if I feel like you're harmful to the environment, like that's an on-view arrest. Like I can arrest you on view.
So basically, you're just trying to say if the officer feels threatened, he basically has the right to do it. Okay. Right.
Honestly, I feel like not just in San Francisco, but like in other communities too, that happens, like where people are really racially discriminated against and stuff because, like the whole, you know how Arbon was talking about, like on site, he just like got arrested and stuff. I feel like I would be able to relate that to like in Oakland, how a lot of people got arrested for things like that, and like an example that I'm connecting from outside would be like the whole that whole like movie, The Fruitvale Station, about the dude because he got shot for no reason basically because he wouldn't like because they were like telling him to stay still and stuff, and he like got shot at by the cops and he wasn't even doing anything.
I agree with y'all were saying, and I have a connection to you because one time I was sitting in my car and then cops came up to me and they surrounded my car talking about just because I was in the neighborhood that is known to be broken into, like the houses, that I was going to have to be searched.
What would you like to say?
As far as the most pressing issue concerning us at the moment, this was one of the first statistics we got, and it's not actually what I wrote my essay about, but it's the disproportionate number of drug-related arrests comparatively between blacks and whites. I'm looking at the first statistic we have here, wherein like white people consistently, for example, used more marijuana between 2000 and 2010. The black people were arrested at like ridiculously higher rates. So I feel like both that and kind of some unfair laws that we've talked about in the past, you know, like crack getting you a much longer sentence than cocaine and things like that is a serious problem.
Did we just start talking
I see what you are saying, and I would like to back it up with some evidence. Like, for example, some laws are really made just to target certain groups. For example, the war on drugs. Like, the wording on a lot of them were like, the criminals we need to look out for. And yeah, that really.
Going on what Spencer said, another source, it was part of the American lockdown, and this was a title that says disproportionate impact of drug laws on Black and Latino communities. And the U.S. white population was roughly 65%, and it just kind of shows you like how it's just so like not equal for other people.
I do agree that arrests are sort of the cause, the main sort of start of all these problems in every section, but I feel that a huge issue would be the underlying sort of culture that we have that discriminates against people of color, and how it's been going on since, since the end of the country, like how Michelle Alexander addresses it, like there's generations of people who aren't able to vote because of these regulations and restrictions that's set by the system.
John Paul, would you like to go?
Sure. I feel like the most pressing criminal justice issue facing San Francisco is reasonable suspicion, because it's basically like the basis for a lot of traffic stops and searches and arrests. But they militarize police, according to that On the Streets poster. It says that militarized police racially profile people believed to be involved in drugs. So basically it's saying that like, if the police simply believe that someone is involved in like any crime, they could just go out and like search them or arrest them without having like enough probable cause, which is totally different from reasonable suspicion.
I agree with John Paul that policing is the most important, or not the most important, but the most pressing problem with the criminal justice system. I feel that their lack of training and lack of knowledge of like mental health people is a problem, according to sfbayview.com. KQED found that mental health issues have played a role in 40% of killings by SFPD, and those killed are disproportionately people of color and individuals with mental illnesses.
I feel like this is a big issue in Texas because people are not seeing the big picture of people being killed inside Texas. Because I remember the time, like, was it like last year in the summer, was that white lady and dad were walking in the pier, right? And then something, this like immigrant who came from Mexico, and he just killed them, and the news was reporting about how he killed them, and but they didn't actually kill him from where, yeah.
Going off of what John Paul said about how if you look suspicious that, you know, it attracts more attention, how Ben had said in the Mission District, you can't be around a group of people with like specifically, it's towards more of like Latino and black people within, if there's more than 5 people, they try to break them up, assuming that they're doing something wrong.
I want to just put on the, before you could respond to that, but this question was meant to be somewhat contentious, in other words, controversial. Like, some people said policing is the issue, and then some people kind of like said, yeah, I agree, but it's the system. Like, that's not agreeing. It's okay to like disagree. It's okay to say, like, no, actually, it's not policing. The courts are more significant, or no, you know, being released and what happens is more significant. It's meant to be a place for you to kind of work out how do these posters relate to each other or compare, okay? So don't feel like you have to agree with everything they say.
It's the policeman's job to, their job is to enforce the law, right? But in this article, the true history of the origin of police, it says that policemen who refuse to cooperate, or not cooperate, the policemen who refuse to comply were fired. So basically, if they're being forced to act tough on their job, like they don't want to seem weak to their peers or co-workers, basically. So you should think of that in other perspectives.
I mean, in that regard, do you think that like not seeming weakness is like an excuse to arrest people at super high rates. I understand that there's like a certain way in which the police need to act, and they don't necessarily have to be super friendly and everything like that. But I don't really feel like that's an excuse for you know, this kind of racial profiling that's going on for this targeting, whether or not it makes them seem tough.
I feel that a big source of all these arrests are the law that put into place, laws, the decisions made by the Supreme Court that allows policemen to act the way they do, and allows them to have every right to be violent towards people who are innocent.
Josh? Eric?
I wanted to say that while these are all really big problems, the main thing that really contributes to all of them, I feel, is racism as a whole. And like, if you, to take it back to what they were saying about how you can look a certain way and the police will target you, like in the Alex Nieto case, he wasn't doing anything wrong, he was just standing there and he happened to be Latino and wearing a hoodie, and they decided that that meant that he was suspicious and they had to take action, in which case they ended up murdering him. And really the reason behind all that is because of how we perceive others and the history of racism in our country, and basically how it's shaped our thoughts and such. That's why they perceive him as suspicious. I thought they needed to use force.
Do you know why Alex Nieto was shot? Do you know why?
Not particularly, but the police saw him and thought that he would be killed, I guess. But
he was shot at Bernal Heights because I forgot what the reason was for exactly, but he's a security guard and he had a taser on him. When you have a weapon on you, you're supposed to leave it out in the open, and he had his hidden. In order to have it hidden, you have to have a certain badge or something to prove that it's okay for you to have it hidden. So that's what they saw him as a threat with his taser. I mean, yeah, they overdid it by shooting him 12 times, but that's why he was shot, because he had his taser hidden, a security guard or not.
So are you saying that at the same time it's still justified because he didn't have that right to have it hidden?
Or he didn't have, I'm not saying it's justified. They shouldn't have shot him 2 times, but
I don't think they should have shot him in general.
more importantly, if it was hidden, how did they know that it was hidden?
I don't know. I think he said he was reaching for it, or I don't know. But pointless was hidden.
Because they didn't even like approach him, like knowing that he had taser, from my understanding.
Someone called cops on him too, saying that he was threatening to take somebody else.
Mm.
That's why the police showed up in the first place. Because someone called the cops on him. Someone else there who was jogging or whatever, I don't know. But they called the cops on Alex Nieto, saying that he was waving his taser around trying to chase him. And when the police got there,
I mean, I do agree with what Jesse's saying, like this whole statement, the whole Alex Nieto case. I think regardless if a person is threatening someone, I don't think that that's the way to go about it. There's so many other ways they could have tased him. They have stun guns. They have so many other ways of detaining a person, but instead that's the option that they chose. Regardless if he was threatening to tase someone, there's many other options that I believe policemen are taught to act before it results in taking that person's life.